Well, Orich, do you use an iPhone? Because I do. And I'm just wondering how expensive or how cheap it will be to get the new and widely anticipated iPhone X model or iPhone 8 that will be unveiled today. So how closely is the market watching this range of new releases from Apple? Should investors buy Apple stock ahead of the new iPhone launch?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't have an iPhone. I might look at the new ones because I'm basically ready after having my old one for such a long time. It's a competitive model. But I also don't recommend stocks. I can't do that, but I can make some observations which are pertaining to the Apple share. These presentations are very important, and you never know ahead of time which way the share is going to go. It can disappoint, either because the product presented is great, but it's priced too high. That might be the case this time. Or because it can go up the share because people are so excited about the market possibilities and so enthusiastic about the new features that you couldn't predict this ahead of time. And there's also the observation that time and time again, people have said that the Apple share, it's gone up way too far. The time has passed for it to be advisable to put your money in there. It just reached a new record high in August. It's come down just a little bit, but it's still the most expensive company in the world. So even if I did recommend the stock or was in a position to recommend stocks, I think it would be very difficult to make a decision here. Everyone has to decide on themselves, and I think a good idea would be to wait for the presentation and see what kind of echo that has in the market and with consumers.
Well, we'll sure wait, and I guess those new models will be very expensive, so I have to keep my iPhone 6 and continue to watch the stock. Well, thank you very much for your time, Orich. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll move on now to the U.S., where the index futures pointed to a higher open as investors continued to track the impact the now former Hurricane Irma will have on the U.S. economy. In the previous session, Wall Street ended on a high note as the damage from Hurricane Irma didn't appear to be as bad as feared. On the data front, the U.S. Labor Department's latest job openings and labor turnover survey report is due out at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The futures numbers there showing all green. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.20%, S&P 0.15% up, Nasdaq up 0.22%. In Asia, shares continued their ascent down today following a firm lead from Wall Street as concerns faded over the potential damage of Hurricane Irma and as Korean Peninsula tensions took a backseat. The MSCI International ex-Japan Index rose 0.57% to hit a 10-year high during the session. Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 1.18% across the Korean Strait. The Kospi gained 0.27%. The ASS 200 tacked on 0.58%. The bank stocks driving gains in the broader index. Greater China markets, meanwhile, were mostly flat. The Hang Seng Index edged up 0.04% after trading sideways for most of the session. On the mainland, the Shanghai Composite advanced 0.11%, while the Shenzhen Composite slid 0.277%. And still on market issues, but back here in Nigeria, the manufacturing sector contributed to a mega 1.13% to Nigeria's gross domestic product in the second quarter of the year. And for the Nigerian Stock Exchange listed consumer goods company Honeywell Flour Mills, the shortage of foreign exchange is a major factor for the low contribution. In an interview with Channel's television business producer Temple Ashaju, the chief executive Lanre Jayola explains how industrialists depend on FX to meet expectations.
For us at Unveils Flour Mills PLC, it's been a very interesting last year. Interesting in the sense that we came out of a very unfortunate situation, or very unfortunate performance position. The year before, we posted a loss for the first time in 20 years history of the company. Last year, that we managed to turn around. From a loss of 3 billion naira, we posted a profit of 4.3 billion naira. So, of course, that came with a lot of determination on the part of the board of the company, and of course on the part of the management team. Of course, also the performance could have been a lot better than that, but for a number of factors which didn't quite work in our favor. Of course, also last financial year, major factor is the lack of availability of Forex. Again, the location of our factory, which is in Tinkan Island, you will agree with me if you have been following recent events. It's not today. It's been on for many years. Last year was no different. Access to Tinkan Island was traumatic. It was very difficult. But the most critical challenge which we continue to contend with has to do with the availability of Forex for us to procure raw materials to do business. Fortunately, things are turning around this time around. So we look forward to a very bright current financial year, which will end in March next year. Last year, the business posted 53 billion profits, and we are looking at a number far ahead of that, far beyond that in the current financial year. So overall, I believe very strongly that given all other factors remaining okay with the economy, that the manufacturing sector will contribute far in excess of what we recorded this quarter. The reality is that there was a slight drop in the GDP contribution by the manufacturing sector. But the good news again is that things are looking up. There's a lot more dollar availability, a lot more Forex availability, pardon me, to the operators. We believe that government, as promised, will continue to support backward integration efforts of players in this space. And with all of this, dependence on foreign exchange for procurement of raw materials will reduce.
After the break, Standard Bank gets a new sole black CEO. Details in a moment.